Hello, everyone. We're live here at the Hill of Roses, where we come once again to celebrate the best contributors to our independent policy movement for progress to bring power to people like you. On today's program, we had a guest scheduled to come on today. We were going to talk to Chris Armitage again. However, I am imagining, as you could maybe guess from the change in the title, we're not going to have a guest today. And so this could probably be due to the fact that we had scheduled with him while he was still in campaign mode. As of last week, he dropped out. And so we don't have any guests right now because I'm imagining he didn't want to come on after the dropout. And they didn't want to confirm with me afterwards. But what we're going to do today instead is we're going to do a little different. I'm going to give some thoughts of what's on my current mind, of what's going on in the world and where I'm at right now, where the Hill of Roses is at right now. And then I'm going to save some time at the end to answer any questions that come up during this stream. So one way or another, we at the Hill of Roses try to record Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and we're not going to fail in that commitment. So stick tuned. We'll be right back with some of my thoughts of the day. Okay, Rosebuds, you ready? Here's what's on my mind today. On my mind today is this fundamental disconnect that I've been facing with what I consider the federal jobs guarantee. People give me some grief over this. I originally was not a supporter of a federal jobs guarantee. And so I wanted to just give a couple clear reasons for you all to hear me in long form, rather than us getting stuck in endless fighting online around this subject. Okay, so first and foremost, let me define what a federal job guarantee is for you all. So there can be a variety of what the job is, but the baseline program is that any person who wants to work should be able to, and the way that's administered is that the federal government, with its ability to print money and be able to fund as much as it would like, barring, some inflationary concerns, because it has a sovereign currency, it can fund as many jobs as it so desires. And so how do you administer this thing? You don't want it to just be a federal bureaucracy trying to decide everything in the country. No, so that's not what it is. What this program does is it says you on a local level are going to have some leeway to create jobs programs within your area. Now, that can vary. Most often, that's going to end up as infrastructure. But coupled with some of the other programs that we have out there that we so desire as universal basic services, you're going to need other types of roles as well. So universal basic services, healthcare. You're going to need people who can help administer that. You're going to need more public health officials. We need more people in that general supply chain. Secondly, you're going to need people who are working in education. We want to expand into college. We want to expand into pre-K. We're going to want to enhance the funding of our existing primary schools. We're going to want more teachers. And so you might be saying, these things require certifications. Well, guess what? There's a lot of jobs in these areas that do not require certifications. There's support roles within these systems. And that's what we're looking to do. As well, in healthcare, there's a lot of administrative work. So we're going to be looking for them to do that. Let's continue onward. Transportation. We're going to have a lot of people who need to actually help manage this new transportation system, whether it be bus drivers, whether it be the people on trains, conductors. All of these jobs are very important. Furthermore, we want to do banking. We want to have this be an expansion of the existing postal service, and we're going to need people who can actually do the banking services within these actual postal office services. So with that being said, there's a lot of jobs there, but then there's the infrastructure jobs. And so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to give people not just a job, but we're going to have to train these people up for a job. And the benefit of that is that A, it's an educational service that's going to give these people more skills. B, it fulfills the moral imperative that any person who wants to work and be able to make an income and contribute to society can. And so these services are going to be spread throughout the communities, and we're going to need people to administer these jobs, and localities are going to make that determination. Now, we had debates on this subject on multiple occasions of whether or not the federal jobs guarantee is a good idea or not. In the past, I fell on the no side. And I'll explain that. In the past, I thought that there was going to be too much significant burden from an administrative level that would make this program inefficient. And this came from the idea that solely that we don't want people to have to work. That came from, we want people who, frankly, just don't want that as the main way they have to stay alive. Have a universal basic income, have the universal basic services. But here's the thing. Jobs do more than they just sustain people. They do help people actually feel some life fulfillment. It helps them build skills. And I ask you, you may not say it has the best value in the world. I don't want to have to make someone do a menial task, or here's a job for the sake of doing nothing because you're overemployed. But guess what? It gets you in that rhythm of building a cadence in life, having a structure within your day. It gives you the purpose of, sometimes there are going to be people who are sick and you need people to fill in for them. It gives you the ability to build that skill set, as I said beforehand, of training you up. It gives you the sense of, maybe I am trying to determine what jobs I actually enjoy doing. And so this experience teaches me certain things about what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy. And on top of that, there's a lot of labor that's going to be needed for all these services that we're looking to provide. And so in my mind, yes, jobs guarantee. We can debate on whether we want it as a jobs program or not, but I think the moral imperative of giving every person who wants to be a productive member of society and wants to do more than just have the basics of survival, they should have that opportunity. And I think we all as society are not going to be pigeonholed of having to work these jobs. We're providing the basics. You don't have to work this job if you don't want to. No one is going to force you to do this job. That's why I think it's important that we have these basics installed first so that you're not being pressured into it. But I think that's a very important subject. People who want to give back to society should. And we're going to need a lot of labor to be able to build this infrastructure, to administer this education, to administer this healthcare, to be able to provide transportation services, to be able to help with the expanded capacity of utilities that are needed and the construction projects for that. We're going to need that for the banking services, as I said. And so I ask you, do you think that a jobs program is sufficiently going to cover that imperative of everyone wanting to work should be able to? What do you tell that person who does want to get a job? Just go find it in the private market? We've seen right now that that doesn't always work out well. And so you're right. Sometimes this jobs guarantee is actually going to be rather small. We have a lot of private employment that now is going to be pressured into providing better jobs because, frankly, this is now a baseline service of what a job can be. Well, then, we don't need to spend that much on the jobs guarantee. It's not that inefficient. We have less people in the pool, and so they're doing more efficient jobs. But in times like this, where we need a lot of support in these tracing roles, we need support in rebuilding our infrastructure and combating climate change right now, in being able to properly do sanitation work in our communities. I think there's a lot to be said about anyone who wants to do that work being able to. I can tell you for myself, right now I'm in between jobs. I'm still looking for a job. Obviously, I don't want to necessarily pigeonhole myself. I worked in a white-collar job beforehand, and I'd like to continue doing project management. It's a skill that I am very well versed in. It's something that I want to do and contribute to the Hill of Roses in doing. But if you told me right now I could be getting additional training in a certain skill set and contributing to my community and being able to earn a paycheck in between and earn the benefits that can come with that, I'm enticed. I would do that in my spare time. And we don't even know, are these always full-time jobs? Maybe you just want to sign up for a part-time job with your community and be able to help out. I think that's beneficial. You may be asking yourself, okay, go volunteer. But guess what? We still have to pay the bills at the end of the day. Maybe we want to get ahead. Maybe we shouldn't be relying solely on a culture of volunteerism, basically having this unguided system where people have to find their own needs within the community to go address, or have to work within a charity organization that's already been established. Maybe the government has some needed projects to help develop the community. I think that's something that we should be considering. And I understand what you're thinking out there. Well, how do you make sure that these things are more efficient? Well, first and foremost, we have to help on the provisioning side. And there's a large bevy of provisioning controls that we can do to provide oversight so that these things are not being abused by localities to fudge the numbers on how many people are there or fudge the hours that people are working. And we're going to require that oversight. But here's the thing. I think it's imperative that if we want to have a society that's not causing just inflation, we want to have people be productive. We need people to serve in these roles. And I think that is a moral imperative to give people the opportunity to help society, especially when it comes to a lot of men out there. I know for a fact that this is a very big thing. Whether we like that part of our society or not, we often get defined by the roles that we do in terms of our general value. How often have you had the conversation when you're in between jobs where you feel like when you're talking to peers or you're talking to potential dates, that you just feel that general embarrassment that you don't have something to say, I'm a productive member of society. Volunteering doesn't get that job done. They want to know that you're making an income and that you're going through this routine. And so I think this is a big imperative to be able to push forward in conjunction with a universal basic income, in conjunction to universal basic services. And I'd happily defend this on its merits at any time. And so I'd invite any of you who are staunch but respectful disagreeers on this subject, my co-host on Full Bloom is, we'll probably find some time to debate this subject. So stick tuned to that. Rosebuds, I want to let you guys have a couple of minutes of questions if we have any out there. Otherwise, we will wrap up today's program. We're going to be doing this frequently whenever a guest no-shows. I'm going to give you my thoughts of the day. And so today, we just went over the federal jobs guarantee. But upcoming this week, we're going to be talking more in our regular cadence. We're doing interviews next week. Hopefully, people will show up. And so Monday, we'll be talking with Betsy Sweet. On Tuesday, we're going to be talking with Lisa Ring. Lisa is currently continuing to run for Congress. She's in Georgia's 1st District. Then on Wednesday, we are going to be talking with Noelle Bevins. She's in Tennessee's 4th District. And then on Thursday, we're going to be having a special Full Bloom episode. We're going to be talking to Vermin Supreme. Heidi and I are both very much looking forward to that conversation. And then finally, Friday, we're going to be bringing on this new group called Demo Draft and talking about their services. One of the things that we'll be looking to do in August and beyond, not exclusively, but somewhat more, is bringing on more thought leaders into the program. People who want to help democracy, but not necessarily are running for office. So we're really looking forward to that. I want to thank anyone who tuned in today for this no-show episode talking about the federal jobs guarantee. I currently do not see any questions here. Let's see. Oh, we actually have a couple here. Okay. Jen asked, do you have any thoughts on integrating apprentice programs into jobs programs in the U.S.? I think generally in the schooling systems, and this kind of is a little bit of a coupling of maybe vocational schooling. Of course, we need to have some more integration, give you that work experience to see while you're apprenticing and learning, actually, frankly, using your skill set. And I think one of the best ways we can do that is obviously first you want to look for the private market, but if you have these skills you've been building up and there's no private market willing to bring you on, of course, this is another applicable use of a federal jobs guarantee. Get to use the actual, skills you've been given and test them out. And so I think that's another beneficial usage. Let's go with another question here. Let's debate Elon Musk. Okay, so I'll do this shortly. Maybe we'll do another one of these segments on that because this could be a longer topic. I don't like Elon Musk. I think he has some good ideas, but I think he is frankly very exploitive in how he manages his businesses, whether that be using some of the government stimulus that he's so railed against today. He was a big recipient of the PPP, and he has done this multiple times in the past to the tunes of billions. And not all of this is loans, like some people say. A lot of it is tax credits that people gave him. And so I think he is frankly a smart guy, an immature guy, and frankly, a hypocrite. I love the fact that he supports universal basic income. I love that he pushes innovative ideas. But he is such an out-of-touch individual. He's never been middle class. He's never been poor. He has gotten a lot of his wealth from inheritance, from his parents owning, emerald mines in South Africa during apartheid. I have nothing but reservations when it comes to people who wholeheartedly will basically come to his defense anytime he does anything warranting criticism. And so I can go into much further depth, but I feel like that might warrant a whole nother episode. Let's go to one more question that we got here in chat right now. New Progressive Voice interview soon. New Progressive Voice. let's talk. We might be able to fit you in. I love talking to my friends in the media to be able to talk through some of this coalition building, what the independent media does. So reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's see. Jen gave another idea here. I have an idea about a family-built business who doesn't have kids, who want to take over the family business, opening up the possibility to others to apprentice and potentially invest in ownership. I think that could be good. I think that's more on an individual basis to make that determination. So I think, and here's a continuation of the business through their apprenticeship labor. Yeah, I mean, you're right. This kind of has that feeling of a cooperative of what you invest in is kind of your share of it. But I think, again, I don't think this is a legislative solution. This is something that I would encourage individual enterprises to consider. Let's go back to Zach. He said today we should stop the stimulus and just give everyone money. That doesn't make him a hypocrite. He's definitely a cutthroat capitalist, but the attacks on him today are just not accurate. Here's the problem. Stimulus packages have more than just money. I think it should have more than just money. I think you need to be funding the states currently, many of which are going bankrupt and trying to actually handle this coronavirus crisis. Furthermore, I think the PPP, although it needs reform, also needs additional funding into it so that the actual small businesses finally get their cut from that. As I said beforehand, Elon's company was one of them that got it. And so I do think it needs reform. And I do think a stimulus package needs to be more than just universal basic income. I think, frankly, I love universal basic income, but I don't think that's sufficient right now. I think you need much more than that. So I think he was completely in the wrong to say, oh, we don't need a stimulus package, when he was one of the people who benefited from the stimulus packages beforehand and didn't raise alarms previously. He's now saying it now when there's actually a package being considered. So that's my problem with him. He is not consistent. He's just doing it now that they're actually considering, again, the one-time checks, the extension of unemployment payments, things that are going to keep working class individuals afloat. David, thank you for joining. We had a little bit of a difference in today's stream. We expected to have Chris Armitage on the program, and so we had a need to change it up once he did not show. So that is why I think it was important that we had some episode today, rain or shine. We're going to be here producing episodes. Let's see. Zach, I'm glad that you agree with me. Yeah. I'm not going to say I agree with everything Bernie said, but I understand people having problems with him saying that. It comes off kind of hypocritically. And here's the thing. Sometimes you deserve criticism when you poorly communicate. And he did not have to leave his post like that when he could have easily followed up with a sentence within the same post saying that he thinks it should just be direct stimulus. So guess what? He bit the own bullet there. And not everything in that thread that he produced was posted at the same time. Some of it was follow-ups after he started seeing that he was getting some criticism. So you know what? He deserves some criticism, but I don't agree necessarily with what Bernie's criticisms are. What do I think are some good public health policies? Oh boy, this is going to be a long topic. I'll give you the short thing that I would love, and I'll do another time where I go deeper into this. I'll just make the plug because right now I'm without insurance. Medicare for All would do a great deal of help to help our health. Because guess what? I don't know about you all, even when you have insurance, do you sometimes avoid the doctor because you just don't want to have the cost? Just avoid doing the basics of health maintenance because there's a cost barrier? I know I have. I'm sure there are some of you out there. I know I'd be healthier if I didn't have to worry about having to pay every time I went to the doctor. So there's a lot more than that, but I think that is going to be a big portion towards helping us get there. And I'm going to last comment here before I wrap up. This is more likely Matt. Matt, we can. I think there are many a subject to debate, but we can certainly consider that. So let's find some time and we can have that conversation if so desired. I sometimes, when it comes to debate, especially when you're on one person's program or another, it's going to end up being more of a conversation than a debate. Unless we can find some mutual moderator, then we can maybe debate. But if we want to have each other on one of our programs to discuss Elon, I'm happy to do so. with that being said, thank you all for tuning in today. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch today's on the air, on the fly, figuring out what I wanted to talk about today, because it took me 3 minutes to be like, oh, what do I want to decide? I'll talk about the federal jobs guarantee today and answer people's questions. So, Rosebuds, thank you so much for doing that. Thank you so much for tuning in, as always, Monday to Friday. If you like today's video, please make sure that you indicate that as such. Like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Share the video. I think these are all things that can really help us grow here at the network to build this nonprofit that does support universal basic income, that does support universal basic services, and as always, supports democracy reform. So please, please, please help us grow the channel by doing those things. I hope you guys are staying safe out there. I love you guys. And as always, I hope you guys are staying rosy.